Ladies and gentlemen, would you please check your ideas and opinions at the door? All your philosophical and religious views, all your logic, I say check it at the door because you can pick it up again when you go out if you feel unsafe without it. I'm not trying to argue you out of your opinions and views. I'm merely suggesting that for the sake of an experiment, you temporarily suspend them. And view what is as if you didn't even know how to talk. Red is not red, blue is not blue. Hard is not hard, soft is not soft. Male is not male, female is not female. And as I talk to you, you will find yourselves thinking in a compulsive and habitual way. This is red, this is green, this is something, this is nothing, this is solid, this is space. All right, but treat those thoughts that are going on in your head in exactly the same way as if they were... See? That's all they are. Now, please don't get agitated that this is an anti-intellectual point of view, that this is undermining the value of logic and reason and so on. We'll bring all that back later when we need it. But just for the time being, let's simplify. Close your eyes. Listen. Now, the first thing, though, that we have to do is to get our perspectives with some background. Let's say there was a primordial explosion, enormous bang millions of years ago, billions of years ago, which flung all the galaxies into space. Well, let's take that just for the sake of argument and say that was the way it happened. It's like you took a bottle of ink and you threw it at a wall. Smash, and all that ink spreads. And in the middle, it's dense, isn't it? And as it gets out on the edge, the little droplets are finer and finer and make more complicated patterns. See? So in the same way, there was a big bang in the beginning of things, and it spread. And you and I, sitting here in this room, as complicated human beings, are way, way out on the fringe of that bang. We're the complicated little patterns on the end of it. But so we define ourselves as being only that. Billions of years ago, you were a big bang. And now you're a complicated human being. And then we cut ourselves off like this and don't feel that we're still the big bang. But you are. You're not something that is a result of the Big Bang. On the end of the process, you are still the process. You are the Big Bang, the original force of the universe, coming on as whoever you are. But we've learned to define ourselves as separate from it. You and I are all as much continuous with the physical universe as a wave is continuous with the ocean. The ocean waves, and the universe peoples. And as the wave, I wave at you and say, you! The world is waving at me with you, and saying, hi, I'm here. Being based on a myth that we are made, that we are parts, that we are things, our consciousness has been influenced so that each one of us does not feel that. We have been hypnotized, literally hypnotized, by social convention into feeling and sensing that we exist only inside our skins, that we are not the original bang, but just something out on the end of it. Now, why does anybody think that way? There's no reason to, because it isn't even scientific. It's just a myth. What's the alternative? Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And that you could, for example, have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time. And you would naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes. You would have every kind of pleasure you could conceive. And after several nights of 75 years of total pleasure each, you would say, well, that was pretty great. But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control, where something is going to happen to me that I don't know what it's going to be. And you would dig that and come out of that and say, wow, that was a close shave, wasn't it? And then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today, within the infinite multiplicity of choices you would have, playing that you weren't God. Because the whole nature of the Godhead, according to this idea, is to play that He's not. So in this idea then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality. Not God in a politically kingly sense, but God in the sense of being the self, the deep down, basic, whatever there is. And you're all that. Only you're pretending you're not. And it's perfectly okay to pretend you're not. To be absolutely convinced, because this is the whole notion of drama. When you come into the theater, there is a proscenium arch and a stage, and down there is the audience. And everybody assumes their seats in the theater and are going to see a comedy, a tragedy, a thriller, or whatever it is. And they all know as they come in and pay their admissions that what is going to happen on the stage is not for real. But the actors have a conspiracy against this, because they're going to try and persuade the audience that what is happening on the stage is for real. They want to get everybody sitting on the edge of their chairs. They want to get you terrified or crying or laughing. And if a skillful human actor can take in an audience and make people cry, think what the cosmic actor can do. Why, he can take himself in completely. He can play so much for real that he really believes it is. Like you sitting in this room, you think you're really here. Why, you've persuaded yourself that way. You've acted it so damn well that you know this is the real world. But you're playing it. Because behind the stage, there's the green room, where the actors take off their masks. Off-scene, obscene.
That is to say, in reality, under the surface, you are all the actor. Marvelously skilled in playing many parts and in getting lost in the mazes of your own minds and the entanglements of your own affairs, as if this were the most urgent thing going. But behind the scenes, in the green room, you might say in the very back of your mind, in the very depths of your soul, you always have a very tiny sneaking suspicion that you might not be the you that you think you are. The Germans call it a Hintergedanke, a thought way, way back in your head that you will hardly admit to yourself.
You know that the word person means mask? The persona, which is the mask worn by actors in Greco-Roman drama, because it has a megaphone-type mouth which throws the sound out in an open-air theater. So per, through, sona, what the sound comes through, that's the mask. And so in the course of forgetting that this life is a drama, the word for the role, the word for the mask, has come to mean who you are genuinely, the person. If you awaken from this illusion, you can begin to feel your own existence as absolutely fundamental. What you are basically. Deep, deep down, far, far in, is simply
Going back to the highest question you can ask yourself, trying to get some idea if I'm doing it correctly. I understand if you ask yourself the question, what am I? You're not supposed to find any answers or any concepts, but is it trying to figure out, or is it just asking the question and remain open?
Yes, just ask the question and don't superimpose the idea, I'm not supposed to find any answers. Just ask the question simply and honestly and see where your mind goes to find the answer. For instance, your mind may come up with an answer. You may ask the question, who or what am I? And your mind may say, well, I'm obviously this body. That's fine. Don't say, no, that's the wrong answer. That's the answer your mind has given you. So you say, okay, I am the body. But then you explore a little bit more deeply. My body appears to me as a series of sensations and perceptions. And I am the one that is aware of these sensations and perceptions. The sensations and perceptions are continually appearing and disappearing, but I, the one that is aware of them, remains behind to know the next sensation or the next perception. So am I a fleeting sensation or perception, or am I that which is aware of them? So in this way, your investigation goes a little bit deeper. And then you may say, okay, well, it's true, I'm not just a temporary sensation, because I remain behind when the sensation vanishes. Your mind might then say, well, okay, but I'm my feelings, which are much deeper rooted in me than my sensations. My feelings of being inadequate or lonely or whatever. In this way, don't superimpose on this line of investigation what should happen. What should happen is what is happening. And each person, when they ask this question, will take a unique journey. And what's important is that you go on your journey. Where do you go and how do you go to answer the question, what am I essentially?
This, of course, is a curious question. It proposes a journey to the place where you already are. And perhaps when you find through some long experience that all the places you go to are not the place you wanted to find, it may occur to you that you were already there in the beginning. And that is the method which all gurus, teachers of spiritual development, use fundamentally. But let me say right from the start, there are many kinds of gurus. The gurus may be situations, a certain kind of problem or encounter. Even a book can to some extent be a guru. But the problem of the guru is to show the inquirer in some effective way that he already has what he's looking for. But again, strictly speaking, there is no method to arrive at the place where you are, and no amount of searching will uncover the self. Supposing that I say to you, each one of you is really the great self. And you say, well, all you've said up till now makes me fairly sympathetic to this intellectually. But I don't really feel it. What must I do to feel it really? My answer to you is this. You ask me that question because you don't want to feel it really. You're frightened of it. And therefore, what you're going to do is you're going to get a method of practice so that you can put it off. So that I can say, well, I can be a long time on the way getting this thing. And then maybe I'll be worthy of it after I have suffered enough. Because one is afraid, here and now, to see it. If you had the nerve, real nerve, you would see it right away. So I invent for myself an elaborate system of delaying my waking up. I put myself through this test and that test, and when I feel it's been sufficiently arduous, then I may at last admit to myself who I really am. And draw aside the veil and realize that after all, when all is said and done, I am that I am. Which is the name of God.